Good morning and welcome. Happy Monday. I know those two words don't go together. Happy and Monday. Well, it's Monday and we're back. I hope it finds you well wherever you may be. We dodged a bullet this weekend. It was forecasted to be 1 million degrees. Instead, it was only 1,000 degrees. It's actually a pretty nice weekend. Got some golf in and just had a really good time. I always feel good. I'm not a great golfer, bowler, or pickleballer, but I like playing it. And when I play it reasonably well, it puts me in a good mood. And our foursome, we all played well, which is very rare when you have everybody playing well. So we had a lot of fun this weekend. It's nice to get away from the realities of the world. But even at the golf course, there's inflation, isn't there? Everything, everywhere you look, everything's costing just a little bit more, isn't it? And if it's not costing more, there's just less of it. We'll talk all about that. Warren Buffett was out. Even Uncle Warren was like, I don't know what these central bankers are talking about. And we're not talking about a little bit of inflation. We're talking a whole lot of it. And then Joe Biden, the going to be the president that spends more money on the destruction of America than any president ever. You want to call it socialism. I don't know. But he's added again. Even more money coming up. These guys just don't get it. The more they give away, the more stuff's gonna cost. That's just how it's gonna work. So buckle up. I hope you're ready for it. Huge moves in gold and silver today. Gold's up over $25. Silver's up over $1 an ounce. And again, as the demand outpaces the supply, this isn't a short squeeze. This is an overwhelming demand squeeze, and it's not going to relent. I actually think, with the next 3 to 5 years is going to be one for the history books as far as, dealing with all of the ridiculousness that the central bankers try to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. Oh, no, it's how we can just spend money. It's great. And interest rates are zero, so go ahead and do it. I don't know how much longer they're going to be zero, but as soon as they're not zero, that's when the crash comes. Have your gold and silver in place before that happens. We got a lot of things we'll go over today. Obviously, don't forget our CBD products. Don't forget our blog page, 1360khnc.com. Make sure you go out there. That blog page is really turning into a lot of great information for everybody. Give comments. We went out and we've gotten a group of very talented young conservative writers working for us now, and they're doing a great job. Check that out. The CBD products, you already know. I've already told you. They can help you. And I whether it's the aches and the pains, why I take it, if it's a lot of people, the medications that they're on give them issues, whether it's pins and needles or whatever it may be, the CBD helps there. If you're in cancer, if you got cancer, chemo, all of those things, the CBD can help you. So many, there's too many to list. But we got a great event happening. We'll give you. I don't have all the details yet, but I saw the basket. Here's what we're going to do for the month of May. Remember last month, anybody who ordered, you got a free lip balm. I scoff at that. Wait till you see what happens. Everybody that's ordered from the beginning from May 1st on, you're already in this. We are going to give away a CBD basket. And I'm just telling you, I've already seen the basket. It is It's awesome. And it's I don't know the total dollar value, but just in looking at it, somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 worth of CBD products. It even has the newest products that we're waiting. We're hopefully here in the next couple of weeks we're going to get approval for the bath salts, the glycerin soaps. All of that's going to be in there. So order away. Everybody that orders, you get put into the basket, if you will. And at the end of the month, one person's going to walk away with just a fantastic gift. And like I said, they texted it to me this weekend. Ryan's going to get it up on the webpage and all of that stuff. But, man, I want one. I know that. I want one for sure. Maybe I could, strong arm my kind into getting me one. But get ready. More and more products coming, more and more ways to help you. Get out to 1360khnc.com, hit the shop button, and place your order today. When we get back, what is the Biden administration doing to up the deficit even more? More government handouts, more money going to those people that are now being, really, let's face it, incentivized not to work. I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about what Uncle Warren had to say about inflation. Oh, and those lumber prices, the cost of a home's gone up even more. Remember last time they said $24,000. I'll give you the new number when we return. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. Eight 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. As we look at where we're headed, right? This is uncharted territory. I mean, it's an exciting time. Really, it is. I'm fired up about it. I mean, we've just seen the whole world essentially shut down. An incredible amount of freedoms taken away, which is always, isn't that always the pattern? Crisis, take freedoms away. Crisis, take freedoms away. Crisis, more debt. Crisis, more debt. Shrinking middle class. Event after. I was listening to the local Colorado news. Now, get ready. Got to show your vaccination papers if you want to go to church and have a mask on. I mean, it's really, really difficult. I'll tell you my own experience. My youngest son, who's going to play football for the University of San Diego, you know this, got an email and a Zoom meeting. That's how the world gets done now. Email, Zoom meeting. You got to get vaccinated if you want to be on our campus. End of story. My older son is going to be a senior in college. Also plays football in Illinois. Haven't done it yet, but they want to. But the parents, right? The parents have been bombarding this school with a bunch of emails. They haven't done it yet. They're gonna. Believe me, they're gonna. They're gonna set it up to where they're going to make it as difficult as possible to get us to comply. And I'll tell you, listen, I don't want to do it. I don't. But that's my personal preference. But if they put enough in place where, hey, you can't get on an airplane, you can't do this, can't do that, blah, 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 blah. If they say, hey, you can't go watch your son play football, right? I'll do it. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what I'm going to do. And I think this is really ultimately what's coming for all of us. And what I mean by that is what comes next. Because we already know. The dollar is done. We know this. Matter of fact, right on schedule. We're testing now. Apparently, we've gone much farther. We're going to be launching 5 different digital dollar tests. So get ready. But that's ultimately where everyone will lose all their freedoms. Right? You know, we've talked about Big Brother and all of this, and it's the best way to, how do you accomplish this? Because it's crazy. Did anyone think this would be possible? Nobody did, but yet here we are. Look, I just came out and said, you know what, they make my life more difficult than I'm going to do it. When all of this comes to an end, the fiat, this version of fiat money comes to an end and the digital dollar comes into play, we'll all be doing it. Whatever they want, you just fall in line. And it's going to be, wow, the power is incredible. I don't know how to stop it. All I know is that if you buy gold and silver now, you will benefit from it financially. The rest of it, I spiritually, right, mentally, from a liberty's perspective, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But let me give you another example of how crazy this is getting. The Biden administration is now planning on using an obscure Department of Agriculture instrument, laying the groundwork for a long-term increase in food aid to tens of millions of Americans, about 50 plus million or so, give or take a couple million, and growing. It's known as the market basket. Why do I have a funny feeling that this basket is what is tracking the actual rate of inflation? It's a shopping list used to determine food stamp benefits. Okay, so first of all, I'm like, okay, that's probably a good idea, right? There's, a list of, hey, here's the basic necessities and what they cost. It can be adjusted without risking an impasse in Congress from the Republicans. And that's just a fancy way of, hey, listen, we can increase food stamp benefits to whatever we want. And we don't need to go back to Congress to get their permission. The review of the so-called thrifty food plan. I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't want to minimize the problem. You got to feed the people. You don't feed them, you think we're seeing riots now. It's not a laughing matter. And it's not a Democrat-Republican thing either. They're talking about this thrifty food plan, which Biden authorized 2 days after he took office. So this was in the works from day one. Well, I guess day 2. That will trigger an automatic increase in benefits starting October the 1st. That, by the way, is the day after the expiration of a temporary 15% boost in food stamp payments that Biden included in the COVID relief package. That $1.9 trillion package. See, this is what I'm saying. None of this ends. They love to conveniently try to trick us. Yes, we're going to go back to normal just as soon as everyone takes their shots and you carry your papers, wear 2, 3, 5 masks. Oh, and by the way, we'll just keep vaccinating you on a yearly or bi-yearly basis. Don't worry. And then we'll go back to normal. Well, we're going to go back to something. Normal is not the word I would be using to describe it. All the checks, they're not ending. All these temporary measures, they're not going away. The director for the Center of Poverty Research said the reevaluation will result in an upward adjustment of 20% or more in benefits. That works out to roughly $136 a month in increased benefits for the what they call the maximum family of four, which, by the way, was $680 before the pandemic temporary increase. So think about this for just a minute. You're a family of four. You already get free health care. Now you get $800 a month in food, right? You have all of these rental assistance programs, all of these other things. Essentially, what's happened now is the United States government is responsible for a whopping 34% of the population, really. Well, 34% of the population's income. And rising. This number isn't even in it yet. And think about what they're talking about. 20% or more. So what's the real rate of inflation? It's one of the bigger things government can do for poverty without Congress. And again, think about how much money we've spent. What do we have? The war on poverty, the war on drugs. It's for the kids, right here. Think about every ballot initiative when it comes to school funding. Oh, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. It's to fight poverty. Who doesn't want to fight poverty? Who doesn't want to fight the war on drugs? And who doesn't want to help the kids? Everybody does. Of course we do. What they haven't figured out is by giving them something for nothing is really not helping them at all. But again, this is what we're talking about when you think about whether or not there's inflation, not inflation, just in food stamps alone now. And that sounds about right. $1,000 a month. That sounds about right. $800,000 a month for a family of four, and again, I don't think that's excessive. I mean, when do you go to the supermarket and spend less than $200 or $300? I mean, unless you're, I'm grabbing a couple of, but I'm talking about, once a month, at least at my house, once a month, my wife, buys the majority of the food for the month. She's out there, right? She's buying in the meat department. She's buying the chicken and the pork and the hamburger, the steak, right? She's down in the chip aisle. She's buying a couple cases of water. We're buying the toilet paper, the paper towels, the toothpaste, the deodorant, whatever it may be. I hate going with her. I mean, the cart's not even full, and it's $300 or $400. And we don't buy a lot of alcohol at my house. I mean, we buy it when we're going to have a party, have people over. But I mean, my wife and I, we don't drink. I get home from work, I pour myself a scotch or grab myself. It's not what I do. It's not what she does. So it's not like. You're in there, you got a couple of suitcases of beer and a bottle of vodka. No, it's just food. And again, What scares me the most, what really should scare us all the most, is the central bank is saying it's not happening. And this is really the problem. Because they know they can't afford to have it say that it's happening. Because if it's happening, then what do they have to do? They've got to raise rates. Well, what happens if they start raising rates? Well, the deficit goes through the roof. Remember, part of the reason they tell you it's okay to spend all this money that's causing all the inflation to begin with is because rates are so low. What do you think happens to housing? What do you think would really happen to housing if the Federal Reserve stopped buying $40 billion a month of mortgages and they raised rates? What do you think would happen? You know, I think our lumber problem may be over. That's what I think would happen. How about this on Saturday? Warren Buffett. This was funny. It's the annual of the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting. I'll tell you what he had to say about prices when we return. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. So Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, you know, Warren's right-hand man. First, Munger, he said it really, really simply, which is, you know me, I like simple. He was talking about millennials. Now, millennials now are, I think the upper end's mid to late 30s now for millennials. Say, you know, early 20s to late 30s. They're going to have, and I quote, a hell of a time getting rich compared to our generation. Really, you're not going to live better than your parents. And then he went on to destroy cryptos, but that's irrelevant. Of course, anybody that's in quote-unquote finance hates crypto. Hate it. Called it, what did he call it? Disgusting and contrary to the interest of civilization. Which probably tells you it's a really good idea, but also at the same time, the reason why I tell you eventually they're going to put the hammer down. That's and you can see that in Munger's comments. But then they went to Buffett, and inflation came up, and Buffett said it just won't stop. Apparently, he didn't hear that the central bank was talking this transitory nonsense. People have money in their pocket. Of course, what he's referring to is, hey, the government keeps handing out money. And they'll pay higher prices. There's more inflation going on than people would have anticipated 6 months ago or thereabouts. Well, I anticipated it, of course. Well, you know, it takes them a while to catch up here. But Warren Buffett caught up really quickly. He said we're seeing very substantial inflation. It's very interesting, said the billionaire. Yeah, well, I'm glad you find it fascinating. I mean, we're raising prices. By the way, Berkshire's in everything. Everything. They own some of the biggest home builders. They own some of the biggest supply chains, furniture stores. I mean, you name it, they own it. People are raising prices to us. And we have to accept it. Take home building. You know, the cost of, and then he goes, we've got 9 home builders. In addition to our manufactured housing operation, which is the largest in the country. See, Warren Buffett's no dummy. I'm building today's slums, tomorrow's slums today. But if you're buying steel at General Motors or anywhere, you're paying more every day. So if it's an economy, really, it's red hot. I mean, we weren't expecting it. Really? Okay. I mean, all of our companies, when they thought when they were allowed to go back to work, we thought, well, things will go back to normal. Apparently, there's a new normal. And he talked about all of their furniture stores, saying people can't stop buying things. Darn it! Just quit buying stuff and it'll be okay. We can't deliver them. They say, well, that's okay because no one else can deliver them either. My wife's looking for an entertainment center. And the best quote she got was 8 weeks. And I told her, don't believe that. Don't believe. They're just saying 8 weeks. It's probably going to be 10 to 12, if not longer. And it's just an entertainment center. The backlog grows. And then we thought it would end when the $600 payments ended. Well, it may have, but then we sent out $1,400 payments. And we keep sending out payments. He went on to say there's more inflation going on than anyone could imagine. Talked about Dairy Queen. I love Dairy Queen. Doesn't everyone love Dairy Queen? I don't go to Dairy Queen very often, but when I do, I'm always happy about it. If you've got takeout facilities and sales at Dairy Queen and all of these things, price sensitivity right now is huge. There's more inflation going on, and quite a bit more inflation going on than anybody would have thought of. And then Charlie Munger jumps in. Yeah, and there's one very intelligent man who doesn't think it's dangerous. And that's just the start. Of course, you know who he was referring to. Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve. And it's something where everybody needs to understand Berkshire Hathaway is actually probably the best example. Because they own every facet of American life. They've got companies. From home builders to manufactured homes to retailers to furniture places and in chemicals and in oil and gas and right, we know right, they bought gold mines, right? They buy everything. Here's the funniest part too. They asked Berkshire, hey, how much free cash do you have? And the answer was roughly, we've got about $145 billion. And they asked Warren, well, what are you going to buy next? What companies are you looking at buying right now? You know what his answer pretty much was? Yeah, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm waiting for the crash, and then I'm going to buy. Right? Patriot Radio News Hour. Woo! The truth hurts, doesn't it? We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Gold's up 27, 1797. Silver's up $1.20. Wow. $27.03 on silver right now. And don't be surprised. This is nothing. This is still with the central bank's head up its own ass. I mean, by the time they actually figure out that their hopes and dreams aren't coming to fruition, that the laws of economics really did apply, it's going to be far too late. Matter of fact, I mean, Brooks Hathaway already said it. Very, very substantial inflation. What do you think that means? Hey, we need to increase food stamp benefits by 20%. What do you think that means? The price of homes just due to lumber. Remember, what was it, 6 weeks ago? $24,000 added to the price of the home. Since then, I've told you, lumber keeps going up. It hasn't stopped. Warren Buffett used steel. Steel goes up every single day, he said. Every day. Lumber now for the average new home, it has increased the cost $36,000. Wow. And it doesn't end. And you don't think we don't know it? How about this one? The U.S. nonprofit called the Digital Dollar Project said this morning it's launching 5 pilot programs to test the potential use of a U.S. central bank digital currency. The first effort here in the United States. It involves financial firms, retailers, and others to generate data to help U.S. policymakers develop the digital dollar. The partnership was created last year. Oh, it was? I don't recall Jay Powell talking about it. To promote research into a U.S. central bank digital currencies. There are conferences and papers coming out every week around the world. And a central bank digital currency based on data from other countries. The former chair of the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and by the way, one of the co-founders of this. Kind of interesting. Where's all the inflation? Oh, it's in the commodities. Well, who's going to help us with the digital dollar? Now, the former head of the commodities. There's not any real data for the U.S. We're going to change this. Calling the central bank digital currency the digital equivalent of banknotes and coins. Allowing the central bank to make instant electronic payments. Well, debit cards and payment apps and those transactions created by central banks and credit and the bank accounts can take days to settle. And often incur fees. See how bad it is? Debit cards are bad, and credit cards are bad. We already know cash is bad. Coins are terrible. They say that the U.S. Federal Reserve is working with MIT to build the platform, and that they're being cautious. Oh, yeah, we're being cautious, but we're watching China. It's vital that the U.S. assert leadership as it has in previous innovations The pilot program, 3 of which will launch in the next 2 months, complement the MIT project by generating data and, all this other stuff for blah, 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 digital dollar coming. And again, what are we going to see from it? A lot of people, and I think this is probably something we'll see depending on where you are in the scale. Those that are already completely dependent upon the government, they don't have any money anyway, right? Any money they have gets spent. They'll probably get dollar for dollar. Anybody that's got any money, get ready. The haircut is coming. And I'll use the last time we went away from our currency. Remember, our currency was gold and silver. And they increased the price 75%. One day you went to bed, a $20 gold piece was worth $20. 90 days later, you went to bed, you woke up the next day, it was worth $35. That's a 75% devaluation. What do you think we're going to see this time? You got to remember, the debt was like $100 billion. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just saying. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Eight 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Like I said, gold's up $25, $26, depending on where you look. Silver's up over $1 an ounce. Silver to $27. Today is the last day. I've got 300 rolls of dimes. And then everything reverts. And if you're seeing silver premiums, absolutely through the roof. U.S. Silver Eagles today, $810 a roll. That's crazy. $40.50. These dimes, you're paying. Let me just tell you what you're paying, just so you get an idea here. Yeah, $33.50 an ounce. So $7 an ounce less. Today's the last day. They're $120 a roll. It's your cheapest entry point into silver, and I mean, we're cheaper than anybody by like a lot on this particular item, especially. Just tomorrow, you're going to add $10 a roll to it, so they're going to be $130 a roll. So take the time, put them away today. $120 a roll on dimes at 800-951-0592. I've got about 40 $20 gold pieces available today. They're $2,080. I've got $110 pieces, and they're at $1,050 today. If you do volume, we'll sharpen our pencil for you. So if you want to come in and do some volume, give us a call, 800-951-0592. Obviously, the website at allamericangold.com. And again, these are really big levels here. Silver now through 26.5, 27 here. We break 27. Get ready. That just really sets the stage for silver to challenge the highs from last year around that $30 level. Gold, remember, 1788. That was the big number there. Right now, gold 1795. We close above 1788. That opens the door to $1,820 gold, and right at that level, gold breaks through there. Then we have another big technical move where it's already above its 50-day moving average, breaks above its 200-day moving average. That happens. All the computers say buy again, right? And then we start talking about, how long until 2,000 falls for gold. And again, this is early, still early. I mean, the central bank still doesn't admit that we've got a problem here. And the longer they delay, the bigger the problem is going to be. And they're not stopping anytime soon. Janet Yellen was on TV this weekend praising all the spending by the Biden administration, promising all of you, oh, no, don't worry, it's not going to cause inflation. The one company probably better than any company in the world to tell us whether or not there's inflation. It's like, not only do we have it, it's substantial. Buffett said that get ready, they're going to have to increase pay. This is what happens. All the prices go up. They've got to raise prices. Those prices raise, they stick. Next thing you know, now I got to pay my workers more, right? Because they go down, price got to go up again, right? And this train about it. Patriot Radio News Hour. Hey, just put it away. It's going to be fine. You've got your gold, you've got your silver. You're going to make out on the other side. Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.